Good morning.
Good morning.
As we go into this moment, will you join with me in a word of prayer? O Lord, may the meditations of my heart and the words of my mouth be pleasing unto you, O God. Amen.
Amen.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Beloved, you are the salt of the earth. And you are the light of the world. We're dealing with a couple of different things here. One of the things, and one of my moments of truth during this message this morning is, before I started seminary, I really wasn't very well versed biblically. I really hadn't taken the time to sit and see what actually was in that word. And now that I have to, I do so excitedly. And one of the first things that I noticed, even going back into the Old Testament, when you look at two words, light and darkness, light is always affiliated with life, while darkness always affiliated with death. Always. So Jesus here is telling those gathered at the time and us today that we are the light. We are the life of Christ here on earth. Now he also brings up that salt piece. Now you can sit with this, and Reverend Lori and I went two different directions here. But she told me, go ahead, because that's what God gave me. Now, when Reverend Lori asked me to deliver the message this morning, what God was giving me as salt was flavor enhancer. But we're going to talk about a little bit first about what Reverend Lori had given me, what God had given her in this moment. And that is the salt, the vitality to life that salt is. And when you think of that, we even brought it up in our call to worship this morning. Salt is essential to life. So, in being that life, we also must embrace our saltiness. Anyone ever been dehydrated and maybe had to go to the hospital? What do? The nurse will come in or the vampire, as they may be called, will come in and insert an IV. And what is flowing in there? Saline? Salt water. You're needing to refill that salt so that your body can properly function. Last year, all of Holy Week, I was down for the couch. Just something hit my stomach. I don't know what it was, but I was out for a full week because of this. Somewhere around Wednesday, I got my head out of where it wasn't supposed to be and went to the doctor. And the doctor put me on an anti-nausea medicine and also told me to drink Pediasure. Like, I'm 45 years old. Isn't there some sort of age limit on this? And apparently, drinking Pediasure is the equivalent of drinking a liquid salt lick, if you've ever had the pleasure. It was not enjoyable at all. But by Good Friday, with those 2 days of rehydrating and building up my saltiness, my body felt well enough to get out of bed. So, now let's move on here. Salt, common table salt. What do we use that for? A flavor enhancer. And I tell you today, when we act as Christ did and has instructed, we are enhancing the Spirit of Christ in the world. When we reach out to the homeless, when we feed the hungry, when we welcome the foreigner, we are not acting as Christ, but like Christ, and thereby enhancing Christ's Spirit in the world. Yes. And that's what Christ was talking about here in this scripture. About not letting your salt fall onto the ground to be trampled, although that has its goodness too. Some bad winters, what do? You throw that salt out there to get the ice down. But again, other than melting the ice, it's just trampled underfoot and has no goodness except to possibly erode concrete. I fixed my step 5 times in 11 years, and it keeps breaking. And it just dawned on me this year, perhaps I shouldn't use the salt. But anyhow, so we are not being, well, we are being Christ when we act like Christ. Christ set forth so many examples for us. Follow me, light the world with my Spirit. So as we reach out, as we act as Christ instructs, we are enhancing Christ's Spirit in the world and growing the church. And as we continue to grow, so does that Spirit of Christ. And as we walk with each other, we are walking with Christ. And I know some of you get nervous when I get up here and hold the microphone or stand at the pulpit. But right now, I'm going to say amen. And let us continue with our service.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.